I think we're working here, folks. Can y'all let me know if you can see me and hear me, please? This is the maiden voyage here on the back deck. Uh, just let me know if I'm 5x5, please. I got the computer on mute here, son. This thing might be a disaster like the Challenger I was saying in chat earlier. Robert Winslow, what's up, brother? Am I getting sound? Am I 5x5, y'all? Or am I losing my mind here? I'm trying to do this from the back deck. And I was telling, thank y'all, 5x5, I see you. I was telling them earlier, it's either going to be, we're going to land on the moon here, or it's going to be another Challenger incident. I don't know. So far, so good, at least. How y'all doing tonight? I was just over at Papa Preppers. I caught about a third of his podcast, and it was pretty good. Hey, he's live, Joyce. Yeah, hopefully. I got all this stuff set up. The deck hasn't fallen on me. We're almost done with the deck. We got to trim a little bit still yet of the decking boards. And, you know, I'm sitting on the most precious wood known to mankind, and that is the on sale pine. The stuff that's a little bit bowed, hey, I'll make it work. It was cheaper. Watch them skeeters. I got this right here. Somebody said, watch them skeeters. About a foot away from the camera here. I ain't trying to melt the iPod or the iPhone or whatever it's called. So really quickly, folks, tomorrow morning, because the chat has been flying here on live streams, and I do miss questions, and I'm so sorry. So tomorrow morning, I'm going to the premiere video. I'm actually going to go through when this is over. I'm going to rewatch it. Pay better attention to the chat, and I'm going to answer the questions I see that I missed, okay? So just a heads up. And also to let y'all know, I'm getting ready to, I'm sorry, mods, I should have told you, I should have jumped on MeWe and let y'all know, I'm getting ready to leave for an entire week. But the premieres each morning, they will be new material. I've been busy filming those and building a deck, son. And I should be in the chat for those, but I'll be on my phone. So I'll be limited and saying, you know, hey, love you and all this stuff. Tomorrow, John, love the background noises. Yeah, it's awesome. Every now and then you'll hear a police car go by, you know. OFC is in the house. Jason. John, is that a beer mug? No, this is an old video game mug. I bought it because it is square. And honestly, people clown me because it's square, but look here. If I had a can, I would show you. A can fits right inside of it. So you can drink a can out of the mug. The key is to drink it from the corner, as I found out. Definitely, Rochelle says she is traveling from Illinois. Prayers appreciated. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Andrew, can you talk about your Patreon account? Well, we have a Patreon account here at Prepper Nation. I try to post intel or video or something over there once a day, usually about an hour after the premiere in the mornings is when I try and set it up. And it starts at $1 a month. The link, I think, is down below. Excuse me. JS says, looks like all the Zelda stuff got washed away. People were complaining because of the Zelda triangle and things. And so I just took it off. You know what I mean? Not to take a knee or anything, but it just wasn't worth all the emails I was getting over it. They thought I was, not kidding, they thought I was Illuminati. And I'm like, look at me. You know what I mean? What does the Illuminati want with me? I mean, really. John Britt, thank you, brother. It's the Triforce, exactly, V-Dot. Scotty Knuckles, where did you get the silver square mug? It was a gift. My wife's cousin brought it for me because I'm into the older video games. So there you go. OFC Nation, that's where all the cool kids are at. Patreon, there are some cool people over there for real, and I appreciate that support over there, but there's some cool people here too. So it's not a have to thing. We just drop extra intel and stuff over there that I don't talk about over here. So anyway, there we go. What we're going to do, or what I'm going to try and do, is we're going to start with social media and what's been going on with the social media here at Prepper Nation. And then we're going to kick over to, there were a lot of questions from Patreon. So I definitely want to get to those. And then Sheila, I don't think Miss Nation is into this group. She loves the Facebook crowd. And then we're just going to open it wide open and we'll talk about whatever y'all want to, okay? If I don't know what this is. Cicadas, frogs, man, crickets. I would be almost afraid to look at this point, to be honest, what lurks in the dark. So Facebook, Sasquatch. There you go. Who said that? Scotty Knuckles. Oh, Sasquatch. Yeah, Krista, cicadas. They're nasty. And they're all over the place here. They were last year too. Facebook, people are talking about how they are sick of trying to wake up extended family and friends. And I cannot say that I blame them. Let me see here. It is a good sound, Sarah, but they get all over you when you're trying to camp. I have extended family. They do not prep. I'm in a weird situation because some of our family knows about me prepping, and they prep to the point where they have bug out bags, but they don't really have a huge stockpile of food. So it's not technically a mag. It's family and a few extended friends, but we each kind of concentrate on prepping certain things. Like I will have most of the food, most of the gear, the good gear. And then, you know, I've got a few boomsticks and seeds, and then there are family members that concentrate solely on that. We got a guy that has several four-wheel drives and things, and he's going to be concentrating on gas. But there's some people that I just can't wake up. I've tried. I don't know how. I don't know. Like, if you live through 2020 and you see what's going on right now, I don't really, it's beyond my comprehension. I don't know how somebody can't be awake at this point. You know, it's willful ignorance, in my opinion. Yeah, Mama said, if not woke up by now, they're just going to wake up when it's too late. Exactly. I mean, some people are just wired that way. They're going to wait until their neighborhood is on fire. And then they're going to say, oh my God, and they're going to start panicking. And those are the folks that hoard toilet paper during, 2020. I mean, they really are. So I understand the frustration they were talking about on Facebook, but I just check on Facebook every so often. I'm not huge on Facebook. I'll peek in every so often, once or twice a week. But my wife, that's her jam. She loves it. She checks in on the group 5 or 6 times a day. And she'll let me know, they got a sale on this, or they got a sale on Oxen Farms, or did you hear about this? I saw the intel on Facebook. I'm like, no, fill me in. Danny said, America will get skinny. You got that right. Aaron Goodman, that's a good wife. She really is. And she's on board with the prepping to a degree. She does think that I'll take it overboard. Like, I like to stack silver, and she'll back me off every now and then. She's like, we don't need all this silver. Timothy, John, how do you think this winter will be? Horrible and very, very dark. As we all know, it's going to be terrible. I think we're going to see, and I've said this for a few weeks now, when school starts, K through 12, public school, that's really when you're going to see the mob of people that want to force you to take a knee. And then after that, it's going to get very nasty. And then combined with everything else, shutdowns coming, the prepping preacher, I believe so as well. I'll tell you who just posted an excellent video, and I left a comment because he was speaking the truth. I don't know if y'all follow him or not. Zombie Farmer. If you folks follow him here on YouTube, he was just straight telling it like it was. on his latest video. And I mean, it's going to be getting really bad really soon. Yeah, Gemini, that's correct, but I can't say that in so many words here. They buffer me. Patriots pride, I do too. The first video of his I saw, he was talking about protecting our youth in this country and how they were under attack. And I'm like, well, this dude's on my wavelength here, son. And I don't, I've not reached out to email him or anything like that, but every so often I'll comment to let him know that I really appreciate the video. He speaks a lot of truth. Salvatore, evictions are going to be bad. We're going to talk about that in depth this week, and I cannot agree more. I think they said South Carolina was going to be the hardest hit, and that shocked me a little bit. I was thinking California maybe, or New York, but they said South Carolina. There are going to be a lot of people out on the streets. Shorty's in the house. How you doing, ma'am? You may have been here for a while. I don't know. I just saw you. And Big German. So the MeWe crowd, 6-shooter, Homestead. He's here on YouTube. He has tomatoes. It never fails. He texted me last week and showed me a picture of corn. I'm like, oh my God, this dude's got corn for years, son. And now he's posting pictures of tomatoes over on MeWe. So he's got a huge crop coming in. Don't give him your address, though, 6-shooter. That'd be, the zombies be knocking on your door wanting tomatoes and corn. Homestead, homeboy, North Carolina. Hello, John from Roaring River. How you doing? Thank you very much. For the new folks here, not only do you not have to super chat, but I would actually prefer if you didn't and would use that money instead for preps, okay? So I have enough money, to put together a pine wood deck. I'm okay, man. I live a very low-key lifestyle, so I do appreciate it, but it's not a requirement at all, okay? Teresa has been canning sausage over there. I saw pictures of that when I was peeking in, and finally they were talking about do-it-yourself homemade coolers. So if y'all are interested in that, again, that is over on MeWe. I was surprised when I checked social media this week, that I saw anyway, nobody had taken it to the gutter. Usually a few people are down in the gutter riding dirty, man, but I didn't see anything this week. Y'all must know Santa's coming soon. Brian just came home 1,000 up from the casino, spending them on preps and ammo. You're doing good, man, if you come back from a casino with anything. The Daily Prep Talk, thank you very much. Thank you from South Carolina. Thank you as well for that. Telegram has been booming this week. That seems like the place to be. You see how the chat is going right now? It's flying. Sorry, Mames. I got it on slow-mo. It flies like that on Telegram a lot. And they've been posting boomstick photos over there. And they have also been talking about how everyone agrees that major SHTF is coming very soon, within weeks. Everybody over there can feel it. And they're talking back and forth about, how if everybody has that feeling at the same time, it's probably more than a feeling. And no, I'm not going to sing Who Is That Boston, More Than a Feeling. I'm getting old, son. True American Loretta says majorly. I think so too. It's the perfect storm. Everything is about to come to a head, I think. Between the shortages, the social unrest, the economy, they just keep spending money they don't have. You've got the, come on, sing it. No, Tammy, I'm good. The crisis going on at the border is horrible, and we're going to talk about that as well. But yeah, if you're prepping and you're staying prepped, you should be okay during this. But the chaos is going to get real. And at that point, I'm the first one to get on Twitter, and I'm not going to lie. I respond to a lot of liberals, and I just call the nonsense for what it is. But we're going to reach a point in time where it's dangerous to do that. I think it's sad, but we're going to reach that point in time. And, you know, when that point in time comes, it's time to do this and sit on your preps and be prepared to, you know, be prepared to do what you got to do. Purple cat person, do you only answer peppers? No, I'll answer anybody as long as I see it. Again, I do apologize. I missed some of the chat because I'm doing this. I'm looking at y'all and then I'm doing this. So I do apologize for that. Domestic gangsters in the house. I saw your latest video, Sophia. Again, this lady can go into the store and get the deals. I don't know. I gotta get my wife watching is what needs to happen so I can save some money. Rick Lowe, what's the economic flashpoint that sets it off? Rick, that's really hard to say. I think when the social programs run out of money, and I think we're very, very close to that happening. The social assistance, I forget which state. Y'all clue me in on this. I forget which state, but one of the states, maybe more than one, is actually suing the state government. The people are suing the state government because the governor ended the extra unemployment. But he doesn't have the money. The state doesn't have the money anymore. When you get into people start losing SSI, they start losing disability, they start losing Medicaid and Medicare, you're going to have a mess on your hands. Tennessee, thank you for that daily prep. And Florida, well, yeah, it may be more than one, actually. I know several ended them, but I wasn't sure if there were a lot of lawsuits or just a few. Airborne says, what's your thoughts on American soldiers during martial law, friend or foe? I've been having a hard time thinking of it. That's a tough one. I would like to think that they're on our side, but when push comes to shove, historically, national militaries have not been on the side of the people. It's not a situation where I would lock and load and ask questions later. I would make sure you're in the right before you go up against that. But the Constitution, in my opinion, should never just go out of the window. When you have governors signing pieces of paper saying, well, we got to get rid of this right now because we're in an emergency, that's not cool with me. The Constitution is there for a reason, and we need to keep it there. And to me, if soldiers are enforcing those orders, if they're carrying out those orders, at that point, to me, it's illegal. Above ground, what is your take on Trump becoming president again? I think if we could get a fair one, he would have no trouble. But he would have had no trouble this past time, in my opinion. It's getting a fair one. I don't know if we're ever going to get a fair one again. But that's just opinion, guys. Aubrey, thanks for everything. Officer wife here. Thank you very much, ma'am. And just to let you know, Aubrey, I'm pro-military. I do back the blue, but I do think we're getting to a dangerous point in this country where they are going to have to choose. Is their duty to the people or the person handing them a paycheck? Are they going to choose morals or money, basically? And everybody's having to make that choice. Well, a lot of people, not everybody. A lot of people are getting hit with this at their places of employment. Take a knee or you're out of a job. And I was just saying over on Papa Prepper's chat a while ago, I think I'm going to make a Kaepernick jersey. And if somebody tries to get me to conform, I'm just going to kneel down and do this. This seems to get you out of anything, right? So we'll see. The prepping preacher says, John, many law enforcement and military, the good ones, are leaving. I didn't know that about the military. I did know that about law enforcement in your bigger cities. They're leaving in droves. JS, depends on the officer. You're absolutely right, 1,000% right. So let's get into a few patron questions, and then we'll jump into everybody's stuff here. As I'm going over the patron questions, feel free to jump in. We'll cover it together, right? Inclusion. Maybe if I say that, they won't buffer me. Crystal says we need to cover getting active and being healthy, and I totally agree. I was just telling the patron crowd, I think it was the patron crowd last week, I finished the survival diet and I felt like crap. I had no energy, and they were like, dude, you're not eating enough protein. Yeah, so somebody said the dollar is toast. It's kind of pulling me in, but we do need to be active. This does not mean you have to throw on a ruck that weighs 200 pounds and jog 20 miles a day, okay? This can be simple stuff. Everybody's different. Everybody's at a different point physically. Just know your limits and try and exercise a little bit every day and maybe eat a little healthier. I got to cover this. American Trucker, while I was sitting in IHOP tonight eating dinner, a family at a nearby table, the daughter asked how to read a map, and mother literally said, you don't need to read a map. We have GPS. Welcome to the world of toilet paper hoarders. These people are going to have no clue what to do. I'm 5x5. Thank you, Albert, and welcome. I mean, these people exist, you know, they really do. There's an episode, not to go too far off, there's an episode of The Office where Michael just runs his car into a ditch to prove a point that GPS is not always right. But in reality, there are people that are dumb enough to do this. There are people that walk off cliffs hunting Pokemon, son, or however that game works. People, they're not brilliant. The average person is not brilliant. And the average non-prepper is even dumber than that, I would say. So they can call us crazy as preppers or whatever. But, I mean, let's be honest. We've called most of this nonsense that's going on right now. We called it a year ago, 6 months ago. I remember seeing y'all in chat telling me, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, and it's happening. So, yeah, there you go. Annette was asking about how to store things underground, you know, as a prepper to give herself more room. And I mean, there's a couple of ways you can do it. You can do a root cellar. It's going to be labor intensive. And I know that Atlas Survival Shelter, Ron, if y'all ever go over there, Ron's a cool dude. Tell him I sent you. He probably has no idea who I am, but we do talk sometimes. For $7,000, he'll actually get you started in the process of, it's called a Fire-nado. It's an underground fire and tornado shelter. It's a small one, but that's what they start at, and that would actually give you a lot more room as well. Also, a really good point is being able to hide stuff from prying eyes that happen to bust your door down. Mames says, ask Matt about root cellar, building root cellars. So there you go. Liz wanted to know, how do we pay bills if the grid goes down? This is a very good question. Very interesting. So there are different, I would say there are different levels of the grid going down. This can be something as simple as you go in, the card reader's down right now, or the bank's offline for, you know, a day or so. In that particular case, there are probably going to be alternate ways to pay the bills. There usually is anyway, right? If the grid is completely down, I mean, I'm talking about for months on end, EMP style, your bills are going to be the least of your concerns. I would say at that point, you're bunkering in. You can settle up with the bill collectors later, you know, because you're going to have people going door to door trying to take what you have. And, you know, they're going to be preying on people and stuff like that. So that would be the immediate concern for me. I'll worry about the electric bill later, you know. American Trucker, who We just read one off here. He was telling me that high-powered gaming PCs are now being banned because of climate change. And he said that a lot of people on the left, a lot of the far lefters, they're getting crocodile tears over this. They want to ban everything else, right? But now that we're hitting them where it hurts, you know, in Nerdville with the high-end gaming PCs, now all of a sudden it's an issue. Let me see here. Smitty Smith, thank you for that, brother. We had a totally off topic, but I used to play basketball in high school, and my buddy on the team, we called him Smitty, and I have no idea why to this day. His name was Jimmy. Everybody called him Smitty. I don't know. I don't know how you earned that nickname, but thank you for that, brother. For Bitcoin mining, JS says the high-end gaming PCs are also being used for Bitcoin mining. That's an excellent point. And we have a microchip shortage going on there as well. So they say. But yeah, now that you hit them, you know, you shut down one or two Starbucks or Best Buy or whatever, wherever they get this stuff at. I'm into games, but they're the old stuff. They're the old, y'all remember the game systems that had the little forks, like the Atari, that you hooked to the screws on the back of the TV? Does anybody remember the TVs that had the screws on the back? Those are the kind of games I like to play. Not really into much of the newer stuff. But apparently these people are deeply affected by this. And they also don't know how to read maps because GPS knows everything. My favorite was Cubert. There you go, Nicole. She knows what's up. No, Joyce said no one is that old. Are you kidding me? Am I the only person in here, Joyce, that had a TV like that? Maybe I was just really poor and nobody told me. As a teenager, my first TV was a floor model black and white TV. That thing was horrible, but I was happy to have it, you know. So Create says, we need to talk about home repairs. He said to remind everyone to double check and make sure your water heaters are in good working condition. Make sure everything is caulked correctly and make sure you have good fire suppression in your home, fire extinguishers, etc. You want to make sure you have all of this stuff now. Somebody's saying Pitfall, that's what's up. But you want to make sure you have this stuff now if you can find it, okay? Because it may not be here next month. It may not be here 2 weeks from now. So just a lot of it is just walking around your house and making sure, do these windows lock? You know, son, is my water heater slap wore out? Do I have the money maybe to replace it so I don't have to worry about that later on? So there you go with that. Thomas, this was an interesting question that I'd never had anyone ask before. And I'm going to get to it in just a minute. Robert Winslow. John, what silver do you like to stack? The silver bullion rounds. 1 ounce, because I'm a low roller. But I'll buy them, you know, 4 and 5 at a time. I usually shoot for the Morgan silver dollars that are in decent shape. But any silver that I can get cheap enough, as long as it's real, Random Train. Remember those, y'all long timers? Thomas says, let's talk about the use of horses during SHTF as a lone wolf. I'd considered horses before, but never as a lone wolf. So I thought that was an interesting question, and I don't really know what to think about it. As a lone wolf, me personally, I'm probably not going to use a horse because my philosophy as a lone wolf is I'm trying to stay out of sight. I want to camp. I think I said the Snug Pack. Snug Pack makes an awesome tent. It's called a Scorpion. That is very low to the ground. You can put this thing, you know, in the middle of some bushes or something and you can't be seen. I would worry that you're riding into town. It reminds me of Rick Grimes, right, from The Walking Dead. You're riding into town on a horse. The problem is all the zombies are immediately drawn to you. But these zombies are not going to be dead. They're going to have plenty of toilet paper and they may be in jacked up trucks, and they're going to want whatever it is you have. So I think it's counterproductive to being a lone wolf, but there might be a few people that can make that work. I don't know. The Blue Collar Bicentennial, thank you. John, just checking in, keep doing God's work. Absolutely. It's hard tuning in up here in the high desert mountains off grid. Thanks for the content and good vibes, bro. I want to tell you a story real quick, Blue Collar. Thank you for that. So I did not build this deck myself, just so y'all know. If I built it myself, it would have taken longer than 3 days. Okay, so I did hire a couple of guys, and one of the guys gets here, and within an hour, I'm out here with this guy, and we're talking about Jesus. And it turns out the guy's been in jail. He's completely changed his life around. It felt like we were having church almost. And it was just an awesome, awesome deal. And he really has a knack. I mean, he's fast when it comes to this. So I just wanted to mention that. That was really cool. You never know when you're going to meet people like that, you know? And you never know when that conversation is going to come up. So let me see here. Zombie eats horse. Sue Clark. Yeah. Zombies will eat anything during SHTF because they ain't prep food. They'll eat anything. They'll be knocking on your door. Let me in, son. Okay, so Robert Robinson is reminding us why the comma is important. Because I can't tell if he loves making shelters or if he's talking about love making shelters. As in shelters where you make love, son. I'm just messing with you, Robert. I saw that and I'm like, I'll take it to the gutter, I guess. So there you go. Get a dirt bike or a quad, Odin's Wolf. I mean, you might as well. If you're going to deal with a horse, you can get a dirt bike. It's cheaper maintenance. You don't have to feed it anything but gasoline, and you're going to draw attention either way. You know, Love Shack, baby. Bad Wolf says that's the Love Shack, baby. Airborne, we need to repopulate somehow. Daddy Gates don't want you repopulating. That's being a bad boy. Joseph said, I'd rather a horse. And that's fine too. I mean, when I saw the question, it really depends on where you're at. You know, if you're 100 miles from anywhere, a horse may do just fine. But, Marley. But, you know, if you're around people and stuff, to me, it's going to draw attention. So this one, I couldn't believe this. This is not a question as much as it is somebody telling me something that happened. Socrates, why don't you like the AR-15? I do, but I don't want to buy a cheaper end model, you know? And so it's just a matter of time before I get up enough money to get a decent model. I don't want something that's going to fail on me. So Serendipity Smiles over on Patreon. She says her son-in-law has a small 3-acre rural farm. And I guess she was talking about Facebook Marketplace. She said he got a great deal on propane tanks. So he bought them all. You know, he's prepping. He's thinking about the future. And he goes to try and have them filled in town. And they said, we don't have enough for it. Holler back at us. Something to the effect. I'm paraphrasing here. And the next day, a sheriff's deputy and an FBI agent showed up at this man's house. And they were asking insane amounts of questions as to why he needed all of this propane, where he got the tanks, what he plans to do with it. And we'll talk about that in just a moment. But Sarah Jean said, what? I want to get some thoughts on that. Matthew Johnson, thank you very much for that super chat, sir. I didn't even know what to think about this when she told me this, because the man did nothing wrong. You know, he's just being prepared. So I don't know if the propane dealership, you know, I don't know if they called the cops on him and thought he was doing something illegal or what, but I don't even know how I would react in that situation. On one hand, I'm not gonna lie, it would piss me off that they show up and they're treating you like a criminal for trying to handle business and be prepared. On the other hand, you don't want to get too mouthy, because especially in this area, if you get mouthy with the police, I promise they're going to find a reason to take you in. They're going to take you in for something. So the dealership called the cops, somebody said. Garden Coy, thank you. That's the only thing that could have happened. So and she said, how do we deal with this situation if it happens again? So I can only give you my advice, and that is, if they show up again, I would be the one asking the questions. I would say, unless I'm under arrest for something, if I'm under arrest, get me a lawyer, son, because y'all about to get sued. Otherwise, I would be asking the questions like, why are you showing up at my house? Why are you here? How did you find out? You know, I would want to know. Yeah, tell them they're trespassing, Angelo said. Nana P, AR-15 fund. I promise I'll eventually get one. Thank you, Nana. I'll get one. I've looked at several. I need to get with Matt, Magic Prepper. He's told me if you ever want to get one, you know, he can build one out. He's really good on that stuff. But so yeah, I'll eventually get one, Nana. Thank you. Ripple effect. There's only one way to heaven: repent and be baptized in Jesus' name. Acts 2:37 through 38 to find a church near you. upci.org. Thank you for that. And you know, I don't jam Christianity down people's throats here on the channel, but ma'am, I totally agree with you. I'll be the first to tell somebody, you know, how much my life was changed. But I respect people's right to choose. You know what I mean? So for those that are interested, right there's the address to find a decent church. I will say, if you get saved, you probably do need a decent church, at least for a little while. So there you go. Tracy, no donations needed, I promise, folks. It's just a matter of saving up and getting the right one, okay? I'll save it up. It's not a huge issue. I almost bit last year at Rule King on a lower end. It was like I want to say it was $3.99 or a little over $4, something like that. And a few people said, well, that'll do, but it's a lower end. And then there was no ammo at all. So I'm like, well, I'll just, you know, somebody's telling me to wait on that one, son. Greg, speaking of, from Patreon, he said, Rule King, back at the Boomstick Barn, they have freedom seeds, and you better stock them up right now. He said, load them up, stack them to the rafters. And I totally agree, because you can find it right now, especially at Rule King, but there will come a time when you can no longer find it. And the second time around, if we go into lockdowns again, the freedom seeds are gone, and they may never come back, folks. Not in our lifetime, anyway. Joe, knowing our luck, Potato Joe, he's, you know, on his second year or first year of a 50-year reign. That man will probably live to be 130, and that he'll be like a king. By then, they'll pass all kinds of laws, and we'll never get him out of there. Independent Marine, I agree. He said he's a believer, but he doesn't do churches. I did when I was younger. My kids go now. You know, we read the Bible and stuff like that, the wife and I, but that is literally the only time that we have together. And so we usually, believe it or not, we go get coffee on Sunday mornings, and we'll do a little relaxed shopping. I love my kids, man, but they're high strung. Daddy, let's go look at toys. Let's go look at this. And it's just, you know, so there you go. Sheila, have you heard any more about the military getting their house in order? I have not, ma'am, but people have been emailing me photos all week of trains and the interstate equipment being moved around. And some of the folks on Patreon, I posted a photo over there. Some of them said, well, that's normal. You know, that's coming back from, probably coming back from Afghanistan. And then other folks over there that have served, they're like, no, they wasn't using this kind of stuff in Afghanistan, son. So I don't want to get on here and pass bad information or rumor. I don't really know. I can confirm that some of the officers were told that, but from there, I don't have any other information on that. Joyce says, Viking preparedness said everyone is overreacting to the military deal. That may be the case, Joyce, and that's why I'm not trying to pass bad information off. But Odin's Wolf, again, said they're staging something, and that could also be the case. So I don't think we panic over it, but I do think we need to be prepared at the very least. So there you go. Hawk Davison, God be with all, much love. I'm a vet. Thank you for your service. If you don't mind, put your branch of service in the chat. That goes for everybody, you know. I am an Army brat, folks. If you're new, I've not served, but pretty much my entire family, all the way back to the Civil War, has served. And we have, if you go back, like way on back to the Civil War, we actually had people on both sides for the Civil War. So, and then everybody else has been in the U.S. Army, and they ain't putting up with any other branch. So there you go. There are a lot of vets in here. I'll say this, you know, I know Trump had his faults, but I will say this. Thank you all, Patriots Pride. Thank you very much. Yep, absolutely. Having been with my wife's grandfather, he went to the VA hospital, and I used to take him. And I could see a night and day difference between when we had Obama in the White House and Trump. I really could. We used to go in when Obama was there, and these folks were like second-rate citizens when they were in there. A few people would tell them, thank you for your service, but I used to watch people sit in the VA waiting room for hours before they finally got back there. And I could see almost an immediate difference when Trump took over. There was like accountability at the VA, and all of a sudden there were people that you could talk to if you had an issue, and they would straighten it out like that. And I think her grandfather was not a Trump fan at first, but I think that actually changed his mind a few months in. T-Rex, hey, your last video on age about had me on suicide watch, son. Why is that? It was supposed to uplift people. Hopefully you're just making a joke there. We don't want that, son. No, this morning's video is just meant to inspire people. Everybody can prep, you know, to a degree. Oh, John, 50 is not old. It's not, I wouldn't call it senior citizen, you know, but there are times, like I'm 44. There are times when I sit here and I'm like, man, if I could go back to being 16 again, you know, knowing what I know now. I just had this discussion with the outlaw prepper, my wife's Uncle Jack, the other day. He was on his motorcycle revving it up in the yard, and he starts talking about, man, if I had this back in high school. Of course, he was talking about women, but yeah, y'all don't lynch mob me here, folks. I'm not saying that you're over the hill when you're 50. I'm just saying when you hit 50, you know certain things that you didn't know when you were 20 years old. Arkansas living, man, I feel a lot older than 44. I really do, man. I feel it. How you doing, brother? Excellent channel here on YouTube for those aren't following. OFC Nation is in here, and Arkansas Living, both excellent channels. And then I think the Domestic Gangsta is still in here. Excellent as well. But yeah, I mean, 44 doesn't, to some people, they're like, oh, you're a spring chicken. But when I get up in the morning, I don't feel like a spring chicken. Airborne, how's the camping going? Airborne, we just got done with this deck. Well, we got to put a few finishing touches on it tomorrow morning. And then we're clearing off a spot on the back of the property where we hope we're going to have a permanent campsite. We're not going to keep tents up all the time, but when we want to go camping, we can just go way out there and pitch them. If I can get those lazy dogs over here to camp with me. Joan T, wait till you're in your 70s. Well, we're all headed there, you know. So there's no way to cheat it. We're not getting out of it. Randall, okay, so this is for you experienced preppers. Randall says he's brand new to prepping. He has boomsticks and freedom seeds, and he has prepped beans and rice. And he wants to know, he's going to be checking out the chat replay, what other foods to stock up on. For me, Randall, if you're watching, I would go after foods that I normally eat. I don't see the sense in prepping stuff you're not going to eat. So I go after stuff that I would normally eat, and then I'm looking at shelf life and I'm looking at price. Okay, I'm trying to find stuff that's cheap and that will last a long time. This can be your powdered stuff. We were talking about it earlier. Your powdered peanut butter, your powdered milk, powdered eggs. This can be canned foods if you can get it cheap enough. Mac and cheese powder, somebody just said. Drink mixes like Gatorade, off-brand Gatorade, things like this. You want a lot of calories. And I would also say diversity. Diversify what you prep. Don't prep all survival food, or don't prep all canned food. You want to kind of spread it out, okay? You can be sitting on, 5,000 pounds of beans and rice, but realistically, who wants to eat beans and rice every single day for the next 10 years, So mix it up a little bit. Six Shooter says, learn to grow food even if it's something indoors. Absolutely. Even for the folks in the urban areas, you can get a little, they even sell the pre-made kits that you can garden out of, and you can put them out on your patio and stuff. Unless you're in Florida, I don't know if I would be in a condo right now in Florida. Canned meat like chicken or tuna. There you go, Jen. Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff popping up on here, and it's all good. Microgreens are easy, Nana. That's probably the only thing I can grow and keep alive myself. My wife and daughter jump in, they can grow some things, but for me, yeah, that's about it. Paul Jones is in the house. How you doing, brother? Spaghetti and sauce every day. Absolutely. You can get boxed pastas really cheap and bagged pastas really cheap. And then the sauces we get in the cans, and just mix it up. So there you go. Let's cover a little mainstream media news. Top stories. I wrote them down right before I came out. Airborne, Miss Nation as guest. I don't want to do it against her will. She camera shy. Sometimes when I'm out here doing this, you will hear her. But right now she's hooked on these Chicago Med and these Chicago PD shows. She's a great housewife during the day, and then in the evening she disappears. She goes to watch them, and I don't see her. So maybe once she gets through all those. Nicole, well, thank you, John, because I don't watch the news. I depend on you. I appreciate that, but you need to watch other creators as well, okay? Because, I do. I have my favorite creators on here as well. You just want to get your information from different sources, okay? And that's just going to make you more informed. As much as I like what I'm saying here, I want you to get it from different sources as well. Fox News. And we will talk about this in depth this week, but Border Patrol agents are now overwhelmed in Texas. They're overrun, and it is actually forcing them to leave their posts. in Texas. And Abbott, apparently, the governor, he asked for assistance. Biden is ignoring him. Kamala Harris, I don't even know where she's at. She's not in Texas at the border. I do know that. And so he has deployed the National Guard now to try and stop just this overflow of illegals coming in. And what is the Biden administration doing? They are suing him. They're actually suing the state of Texas for trying to keep illegals out of their state. So that to me is mind-boggling. You know, you can actually go back 20 years, and you can see people like Bill Clinton getting up there saying we need to do something about our borders. You know, you can pull it up as early as Obama, and he's talking about securing the borders. And this is how much the Democratic Party has changed since Obama took office. You know, and I'm not pinning it all on Obama. There are a bunch of culprits on both sides of the aisle. But they used to believe that we needed borders. And now they're just like, open the door, let them all in. You know? Yeah, 2326 Texas says Governor Abbott gave National Guard arrest power to assist at the border. Absolutely. And you know, they're saying, well, it's not fair. You're violating these people's rights. These people have no American rights. They're not even supposed to be here. And I have no problem with them coming here, but there's a process. And they will say, well, you know, I don't want to wait 5 years. The process is too long. The process is too long because everybody's busy trying to figure out who's supposed to be here and who's not. If these people would just use the process the way it's intended to be used, we might be able to weed out the criminals and keep them away, okay, and bring everybody else in and make them pay taxes. Everybody else has to pay taxes, you know? I don't understand. And they said they're testing, you know, for the C, they're testing only if they have symptoms. These folks aren't wearing a face diaper. They're not doing nothing. They're coming in hundreds at a time, big caravans, just let them in. And, you know, they're processing them and then they're just cutting them loose here in the United States. They've been caught flying them out and flying them into other parts of the United States because the southern border is so overrun now, it doesn't even look American anymore. And so now they're putting them elsewhere and trying to blend them in. That's how big the problem is. So, good night, Odins. So CNN, their headline was, those who have taken a knee, and I'm paraphrasing, those who have taken a knee are fed up with your resistance. So if you've not taken a knee, buddy, you are public enemy number one right now. They're getting sick and tired of you resisting. And I have thoughts that I really can't say on here, but let me see how I can put this in a nice way. I don't care. I don't care if they're fed up. I don't care if they think this whole thing should be mandatory. I don't care what they think. Because when we were talking about, hey, you know, you shouldn't be burning down cities in the name of communism, they were resisting. You know, when we were saying, hey, maybe you should do something about abortion, they were yelling pro-choice. And now, all of a sudden, they're fed up with us resisting because we won't get in line. So there you go. That is CNN's top story, top thing going on in the world, folks. The headline is they're getting sick of people that are not willing to submit. 6 shooters said they can come visit my hog pen. That does not sound pleasant, okay? Close the Arc says, did you see the congressman that was locked out from visiting the January 6th political prisoners? I did not. I'll actually have to Google that. I've missed that somehow. Seamus done brought up Don Lemon. Don Lemon has his own hog pen. Don Lemon's an idiot. I hate to say it, but I would tell him to his face, dude is a moron. He's just, I don't know. He's an establishment guy, I guess. You know, he's got to do something. His ratings. There are more people in the chat right now than watching Don Lemon tonight, whenever it comes on. Ripple effect. They will make America a third world country, and if they make them legal, they will vote Biden for king. You're absolutely correct. Thank you. But the thing is, in some places, they're voting now, and they're not legal. They're not supposed to be voting, and they're doing it anyway. And the Republicans that are trying to pass laws against that, of course, you know, they're being accused of humanizing these people and stripping them of their rights that they don't have in the first place. It's like the Twilight Zone. Robert. Oh, man. So RT News is reporting that French protesters apparently are burning it down, son. Paris looks like Mad Max. Looks like a war zone. And the police are deployed and using water cannons against the people that are trying to protest and also the stuff that is on fire. This, again, is the French. The French, out of every country, the French are fed up, and the French have decided to do something about it. Historically, that is a head scratcher, because the French are usually the last ones to stand up and do anything about anything. We're usually the first. I don't know what's going on here, but the French, they're fed up. They're not doing it. They said everything's going to be mandated over there, and they went off. They have totally lost it. Airborne says Australia has military in Sydney doing the same thing. Yep. There are many countries doing the same thing, but RT was just reporting on France because it's gotten so bad over there. Look, Paris looked apocalyptic almost. Wolf Mule says the French have been overrun by illegals for decades. They really have. They have the same thing that's going on here. You know, the French would take them in, and then they would plant them here, plant them here, plant them here, and they're completely overrun. And now they're being told you have no rights. You're going to do exactly what we say. And the people, nah, they ain't buying what the government's selling over there. Close the arc. The French brought out the guillotines. I saw that. They may head to revolution before anybody else, including America. And he also said South Africa has military. Yeah, they've had it for a while. Cuba's still a mess. I mean, people have just had it with this whole narrative, this whole boogeyman that was, I'm going to go ahead and say it, created. This is, or at least it feels like to me, a controlled demolition. And people are sick of it. They're tired of living in fear. They've been tired for a while. So we'll chat here for a few minutes. And again, I don't doubt that. Scotty says I was cut off for a few seconds. I don't doubt it. You know, I'm not saying anything bad. I'm not saying anything wrong. I'm just giving my opinion, okay? But we all know what's going on there. Tomorrow morning, just a quick reminder. I know I've missed tons of questions here in the chat, and I'm going to cover them in the morning, okay? The Great Reset, Joey Jones. Exactly. Exactly. Big Red, I get cut off all the time. Laura said Satan's plan. I do believe it's biblical. Yeah, to a degree. Isn't that amazing? You know how the Bible is so old, and yet it is literally predicting the things that are going on right now. You know, it could be that it's a legitimate book, folks. More people need to read it. Jason Smith said, going to be a great reset. All right, 1776. We've almost backed ourselves into a corner as a country to where there has to be some kind of reset. There either has to be a divorce between the two ideologies, The far left, the extreme left, and the extreme right, they cannot coexist. This marriage, it ain't working, son. There either has to be a divorce or there has to be some kind of reset, like you were talking about. Domestic Gangster says it's a fear tactic. Most of us will do anything to keep our family safe. Yep, you're totally right, Sophia. They'll use anything and everything. These people are desperate. Airborne says, be sure to hit the thumbs up, and YouTube censored it. I had to just uncensor it. That's crazy. John Kelly, I'm getting ready to hop off here. Actually, I don't want to stream over top of anyone. Prepper Trucking says, make your stand, people. You want to make sure it's legal, but we got to do something. You know what I mean? We have to do something. When the French are leading the charge, we've dropped the ball somewhere as Americans. But folks, I'm going to head off here, and I'm going to go refill the coffee cup. Thank y'all for being here. I'm going to rewatch it probably in 15 minutes, and I'm going to write down all the questions I missed, and we'll cover them tomorrow morning for the premiere, okay? And we'll get into some good conversation then. Thank you very much for being here tonight. It was a blast. I've probably got mosquito bites all over me. We'll see when I get inside. But I appreciate it, y'all.